Turning Point USA is not recovering from this. Yesterday, Candace Owens openly said, anytime, any place, let's talk about what's been said about me and what actually happened to Charlie Kirk. Because the twisting of her words and saying that she's ruining the midterms and that she's grifting off Charlie isn't adding up. Meanwhile, the same organization who was selling t-shirts not even a week after Charlie was taken out, instead of addressing any of the questions everyone actually has, they also left out the Egyptian planes. When Candace Owens said, let's have a discussion, they responded with this: it must come in person, it can't be virtual, and it has to happen in our office. It has to be December 15th at 2 p.m. when Candace literally starts her show. Tell me how this sounds like a good faith debate. It sounds like they're setting up a situation where they can later say she backed out instead of actually having the conversation. It'll just be a reminder that Candace Owens' viewership is way bigger than theirs because people aren't buying the official narrative. The biggest giveaway is now they're saying they're preparing to address everything without Candace, but they never sent her a real date or time before making that announcement. This entire situation is unraveling, and TPUSA will never bounce back from it. When news broke that Turning Point USA had abruptly canceled an upcoming debate featuring Candace Owens, it sent shockwaves through political media circles, conservative audiences, and Owens' own loyal following. The cancellation quickly ignited speculation, online arguments, and a storm of commentary on what the decision meant for the future of conservative discourse. Though debates and forums are often adjusted for logistical reasons, this particular cancellation drew outsized attention because of who was involved, the timing, and the broader tensions surrounding the conservative movement. To understand why this moment became such a flashpoint, it's important to look not just at the announcement itself, but at the context around Candace Owens' recent controversies, Turning Point USA's public-facing strategy, and the internal pressures shaping the modern conservative landscape. Candace Owens has been a dominant force in right-leaning media for years. Rising from YouTube commentary to international political debates, she built her brand on confronting cultural issues head-on, challenging establishment narratives, and saying what others wouldn't. That fearlessness made her one of the most recognizable voices in conservative politics, celebrated by supporters and criticized by opponents. But it also means Owens is no stranger to controversy. In recent months, she's been involved in multiple high-profile disputes, ranging from heated social media exchanges to intense debates on foreign policy, culture wars, and high-stakes political issues. While her supporters admire her for speaking boldly, critics inside and outside the conservative movement sometimes accuse her of being too confrontational or divisive. Against that backdrop, the announcement that Turning Point USA had canceled a planned debate featuring Owens felt less like a standard programming decision and more like a moment symbolic of larger political tensions. Turning Point USA has spent the last decade shaping itself into the dominant conservative organization for young voters, with massive conferences, campus chapters nationwide, and a robust digital presence. Their events tend to be polished, controlled, and strategic, designed to push clear messaging that supports conservative candidates and policies. Debates, by their nature, introduce unpredictability. And when the person at the center of the debate is Candace Owens, known for her willingness to challenge allies, criticize sacred cows, and force uncomfortable conversations, the risk for off-script moments increases dramatically. This risk is something TPUSA has had to negotiate before. Owens has historically been both an asset and a challenge for large conservative institutions. Her charisma and influence are undeniable, but her independence means she doesn't always align with institutional messaging. So when the debate was canceled, observers immediately wondered whether it was a question of logistics or politics. Sources around the event said the planned debate would have addressed several hot-button issues within conservatism, including the role of the U.S. in foreign conflicts, cultural and generational divides in the conservative movement, government overreach and free speech debates, the future direction of right-wing media personalities. These are topics that consistently spark internal disagreements among conservatives, especially in the post-2020 environment when various factions within the movement have begun to diverge sharply. A debate featuring Owens promised to deliver fireworks, which is why many were shocked to see it pulled from the schedule. Turning Point USA released a brief statement calling the cancellation a result of scheduling conflicts and program restructuring. While organizations often use such language, many felt the explanation raised more questions than it answered. Why was the cancellation so sudden? Why wasn't the event simply rescheduled? Why were other forum-style discussions still going forward without disruption? Within minutes of the announcement, Social media lit up with speculation. Some commentators argued that Turning Point feared the debate could create internal division. Others suggested that Owens' recent controversies made the organization want to distance themselves, at least temporarily. Owens herself did not immediately issue a detailed public reaction, but observers noted that her previous statements about transparency, censorship, and open debate might foreshadow criticism of the decision. The public response split into three major camps. 1. Supporters of Owens, who believe she was silenced. Many of her fans argued that she posed too great a challenge to establishment conservatives and that the cancellation was politically motivated. They pointed to Owens' reputation for fearlessly questioning both the left and the right. 2. Defenders of TPUSA, who argued the move was practical. These commenters claimed the cancellation was being exaggerated and that events often shift around at large conferences. They rejected the idea of political motivations. 3. Moderates and analysts who saw it as a sign of deeper ideological fractures. Political commentators across the spectrum noted that the conservative movement has been undergoing internal friction on foreign policy, culture, strategy, and personality-driven media. To them, this cancellation symbolized the growing difficulty of hosting wide-ranging debates in an increasingly divided movement. Candace Owens' unique position makes this controversy especially explosive. She has a massive platform, she appeals to young conservatives, she is independent of party control, she is willing to critique political leaders, including those on the right, she commands loyalty from millions of followers. When someone with that influence is excluded from a major conservative event, even temporarily, the symbolism is powerful. Some analysts argue that the cancellation reflects a broader shift in conservative strategy. More focus on unity messaging, fewer unpredictable debates, tighter control over conference content, avoidance of intra-party conflict in public spaces. Debates are inherently risky. They create viral moments that can be clipped, misunderstood, or used against the movement. TPUSA may be seeking a streamlined, conflict-free approach leading into the 2024-2025 electoral cycle. Far from weakening her platform, the cancellation may actually strengthen her. It gives her more credibility among viewers who distrust institutions. It reinforces her brand as an outsider. It fuels conversation, boosting media attention. It positions her as someone powerful enough to disrupt major organizations. Owens has built her career on challenging systems, not being embraced by them. In that sense, the cancellation is almost perfectly aligned with her ongoing narrative. The most important takeaway from this controversy is not the cancellation itself, but what it reveals about conservative politics today. A movement wrestling with identity, factions disagreeing on messaging, institutions trying to control unpredictable environments, media personalities pushing for freer, less polished conversation. The cancellation of one debate may seem small, but the underlying tensions are not. Turning Point USA's decision to cancel the Candace Owens debate is more than a scheduling issue. It's a window into a movement grappling with internal disagreements, messaging strategy, and the growing influence of independent commentators. Whether the cancellation was logistical, political, or strategic, it has already reshaped conversations about the conservative movement's future. Owens remains a powerful voice with a dedicated following, and her reaction, public or private, will likely determine the next chapter of this story. One thing is certain, the debate may have been canceled, but the controversy is only just beginning.